The project charter is one of the most valuable project management tools you can use. It's a document that formally authorizes the project and also provides a high-level view of the project plan. In addition to formally authorizing the project charter's real value is that it helps you answer important questions about the project, such as who's involved, who's doing the work, who's it for, who's impacted, what's the scope, what are we delivering, what are the risks, what is the cost. Where is the project happening? Which database, environment, etc.? Which physical location, which room, which building are impacted or involved? When is the project happening? What's the project schedule? What are the milestones? Why are we doing this project? And how? How does this align with our mission and goals? How will we know we are successful? How will we communicate to the project team, to stakeholders, etc.? The project charter can help you answer all of these questions. We put together a project charter template that you can use for your K-12 projects. You can find the link below this video. Let's go over it now. The first section is the project name. This is where you'll put the official project name, a realistic start date, and a realistic end date. And remember, a defining trait of a project is that it's temporary. It must have a start and end date for it to be a project. Next, we have project organization. This is where you're going to put everybody that's involved in the project, from the project manager, the steering committee, the project team, the sponsor, the stakeholders, and anybody else that's involved. I recommend you take a look at our roles and responsibilities PDF, also linked in the resources section, for more tips about this. Then we get into project details. First, we'll put a project description. This should be a brief description in simple, easy to understand terms. What is the point of the project? What are we trying to solve? What are we trying to create, etc.? It should be your elevator pitch. Easy to understand is the key here. Next, we have scope. In so many words, what is this project doing? This is where you want to be very detailed. And I recommend not just placing what's in scope in this area, but also what's out of scope. That can help you manage expectations and prevent conflict down the road. Then we get into deliverables. Here you will list any products or results that you expect when the project's complete. These can be physical artifacts or just tangible results. On the next page, we're still in project details. We start with goals alignment. This is where we show how the project aligns with the organization's goals. And we have our own San Diego County Office of Education goals here. I recommend you swap them out for your own. Next, we have objectives and success criteria. How will you know if the project was a success? I recommend using measurable criteria here, such as 97% of users report satisfaction with the system, or trouble tickets went down 30%, or uptime has increased by 50%, that sort of thing. And last, for project details, we'll list risks. This is really the place to get your mind thinking ahead of time. What risks do you identify with the project down the road, and how will you mitigate those? This especially will be a living section as risks emerge and fall off the project. Now we get into a big section, project schedule and milestones. Here you're going to want to list either the phases or major milestones of the project. Include the start and end dates, and if you have a lead identified, who the lead will be. This isn't the place to identify every single activity or task that will happen in the project, but it'll give you a good idea of what the schedule is going to look like. And I recommend once you're done roughing in the milestones here, go back up to section 1 and make sure your start and end date is still realistic. Now on our last page, we get into section 5, which is tools. Just identify which tools you're going to be using for the project. Do you have project management software that people need access to? Are you using Microsoft Teams or Zoom, that sort of thing? Where are we storing our files? Is there a website, etc.? And last, we have section 6, which is other items to consider. Think about, what's the project budget look like? What's your communication plan look like? How are you going to track and send status updates? What's your training plan or documentation plan? And how are you going to close out the project? I'm going to finish with 3 tips for writing your project charter. First, before you start, make sure you have what you need, which is the template you can find below, and also the project roles and responsibilities PDF, which you can also find in our resources section. Next, make sure to brainstorm and discuss with others. Writing a project charter, even though it's done by the project manager, it is not a closed process. This should be a very collaborative process where you conduct brainstorm sessions with the project sponsor. subject matter experts, or anybody else that can help define the project. And lastly, allow this to be an iterative process. The project charter is, to a degree, a living document. And if you get down into your project and you find out that the project charter doesn't really reflect reality, it's okay to come back and make changes. Now that you have a completed project charter, don't forget to have your sponsor sign off on it. Sit down and talk through the completed charter with them. Make sure that there are no misunderstandings about scope, schedule, budget, or anything else on the charter. This will probably save you headaches down the road. Once you have the sign off, use this charter to guide your project. All right, that wraps up our quick walkthrough of the project charter. For more K-12 project management resources, check out the EPMO website at sdcoe.net.